Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful Ponytown video. Today I'm here in Ponytown to discuss Ponytown Lingo. All kinds of games and all kinds of other fandoms and this and that or whatever always seems to have these different lingos and phrases, words if you will, that most people that aren't part of the fandom, that aren't part of the game, aren't part of the community, just don't understand. So if you are new to Ponytown and there is all these crazy weird words that you've been hearing and you don't understand what any of them mean, this video is perfect for you. So let's start with our first bit of lingo. For this, we have to travel to a faraway land, a very, very faraway land, a very spooky land, a land that many of us wish would just burn. And that land, that forbidden land, is here. It is Spawn. Now, Spawn, of course, isn't the bit of lingo, but if you are curious of what Spawn is, basically Spawn is just the place that you spawn in at when you first open up the game. If you haven't been anywhere else, normally you spawn in wherever you last were, but if you haven't played before, you spawn here. This is Spawn. A lot of people hate this place. This is where our first bit of lingo comes from. The word Spawnies. Spawnie or Spawnies basically refer to people that love to just go to spawn like this and just sit there and either watch the discourse that happens or spread the discourse themselves, spread the chaos, spread the controversy, do this, do that. It's very crazy and it's hectic. Right now it's very calm and quiet for some reason, but usually it's pretty bad. Usually you'll see a lot of controversy and things like that here. So Spawn is usually a place you don't want to go to, but if you are a Spawnie, you probably come here to spread discourse, or you probably go to other places in Ponytown to spread discourse and chaos and all kinds of controversy and things like that. But that is only the first thing on our list of Ponytown lingo. We actually have some things that are a little bit more wholesome, a little bit more normal. So let's go ahead and go to the docks where we will see our next piece of lingo. What in the fuck is that? I don't know what that is. Let's pretend we didn't see that, okay? And let's talk about our next bit of lingo, which is B/W. If we stay here long enough, you might see someone that says it, perhaps this person up here. Yes, right here, B/W for a Gore Lab RP, TT/TD friendly. We'll get it to TT and TD later in the list, but for now, let's focus on the B/W. What the heck does that mean? Well, B/W basically means boop or whisper. Now, you can boop players by just pressing B on your keyboard. There's also an action for it. You can boop players. That's a nice Fluttershy, so we're fuck you, Netflix. That's funny. But yeah, you can boop them that way, and if you want to whisper to them, you can click them and then go to this top left thing and click it, and boom, there you go. You can send whispers and stuff like that, right? It's a very lovely thing. Basically, they're advertising their little role play, and a role play, an RP is a role play where you get to do different things. It's basically a whole play pretend type thing, basically. I'm sure many of you already know what an RP is, but yeah, that's what it is. And they're just advertising it. People like to advertise that stuff for all kinds of things. It's not always a role play. It might be something like B/W to add, where they're asking you to add something to their character, and then they have to do it or whatever like that, right? So there's all kinds of boop for whispers or boop/whisper stuff here at Docs, and it's just a neat little thing. It's very simple to understand. And yeah, it's very important that you know that, because that is where you're going to get a lot of your entertainment from, is go to the docks, find someone that's advertising something and boop them and join their thing. The next thing on this list might be a little bit hard to show you, but it has to do with poofing, right? So if you ever switch characters, for example, if I was to switch to, I don't know, Birthmark like this or something like that, right? There's a little poof effect that happens when you do that. Every single time you switch characters, let's switch to Skelebanes, boom, there's a little poof effect there. That person right there, they just poofed. Poofing or poofed, if they just poofed, basically refers to the fact that that person just left the game. They disappeared, they poofed away. That's literally all it means. So if you ever see someone and they're saying like, oh my god, that person just poofed, or oh heck, they just poofed, or whatever like that, right? That's what they're referring to. They're referring to a character that has just left the game and left behind the little poof effect right there, right? So another thing that you might hear people say is like, oh no, they died, or they're dying. That's another way to say that they had poofed and stuff like that. So keep that in mind, because that is a very simple thing. You probably will hear that a lot, especially in VCs and stuff like that around the Ponytown community. But there's another thing that we can go back to the docks for that is a little bit more wholesome. Which, well, I guess maybe not wholesome, but there is another thing here at the docks. If we come back to the docks, we're going to have to learn about raiders and raiding. So raiders basically are a person or people that just say, hey, line up everyone, I'm gonna start rating you all. And you normally will see these medium to large lines of people that are just waiting to be rated. So that you'll literally just come up to them and they'll be like, oh, here, rate me. And basically they're asking for a number out of 10 of how cool they look or how good they look or whatever, right? You may also just have them say something about your character, like, oh, haha, your character's way too green. Your character's way too green. 4 out of 10. Get out of here. And then you have to walk away and sad because you're green. But they may also say something really nice and say that you're green and that's really cool and give you an 8 out of 10 or something like that, right? So that's what a rater is. And so when people refer to being rated or rating lines and stuff like that, that's what they're referring to. They're referring to these people that will come on here and just be like, okay, you're this, and that, or whatever, 4 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, or whatever like that, right? And then move on and stuff like that, right? So next up on this list is a little bit of controversy. D and I, D and T, TT, TD, what the heck does it all mean? Well, every now and again you may see a character like this that has TT at the end of their name or somewhere within their name like that, right? And what that means is touch trigger. This means they don't like to be touched in the game. It triggers them, and so just avoid them, I guess. TD is a very similar thing. It's touch discomforts, which means they get uncomfortable when people are really close to them or touching them in the game and stuff like that. D and T means do not touch, which is again basically the same thing. And then there is D&I, which means do not interact. So if you see any of those abbreviations or whatever like that on a character, then I guess just avoid them, because it's honestly just better to just avoid it rather than getting super close to them and making them uncomfortable or making them upset or whatever like that, right? And there's no point in getting into the whole controversy there. So let's move on to this next thing and this last thing. So this next thing and this last thing has to do with this ugly thing that you're seeing on screen right now. I know it's very hard to look at. This is an eye bleed OC, an eye bleed character. Basically, you may see people every now and again refer to, oh, the eye bleeding character over there, or this or that or whatever like that. This should be a little bit more obvious, but basically it's referring to characters like this that are just super bright and hard to look at, so it hurts your eyes. So in fact, let's go ahead and switch characters here, because it's just too hard for me to even look at, really. But yeah, that's what it's referring to. So eye bleeds or eye bleeding characters is basically a character that looks just like that. It's super bright, it's hard to look at, and it hurts your eyes. It makes your eyes bleed, even though it doesn't actually make your eyes bleed. It just really hurts because it's so bright and stuff like that. Those characters are looked down upon in the community because they're hard to look at. They freaking hurt. So I guess try to avoid those, or try not to become one of those or anything like that, right? So yeah, that's gonna do it for the Ponytown lingo here in Ponytown. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any bits of Ponytown lingo that you know of that I didn't explain in this video or anything like that, if you have any questions, any kind of bits of lingo that you use that I didn't mention in this video, then let me know in the comments below. I'll try to answer that for you. I may also include it in a future video where I talk about even more Ponytown lingo. But for now, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that. Because when you do those wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself. And I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.